Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. We're going to start in just 2 or 3 minutes.
Philip, sorry, we cannot hear you.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Philip Easter, Secretary General of the European Protein Industry, one of the many partners in this fantastic consortium for the TEcoNaut project. Welcome to this webinar, the first webinar we've done in this project, and we're really excited to tell you more about TEcoNaut. Before I go into the agenda for today, I would just like to share a few housekeeping points with you. The webinar, as you know, will last approximately 60 minutes, around 57 minutes from now, and we've left 15 minutes for Q&A at the end. You're all muted to make sure that we have good audio quality. This webinar is also being recorded, as you have been notified. If you have any questions, we very much welcome them. Please put them into the Q&A or chat function. We will monitor that, and we will try and answer as many questions as possible during the Q&A at the end. And if there's any left over or there's any afterwards, you're welcome to contact us. Here at the bottom, you have my colleague Marina's email address for the newsletter, but also to ask any other questions or interest in the project that come up afterwards. If you have any technical issues, I hope not, but please put those questions into the chat and a member of our team will assist you. So let's look at the agenda. We will first look at the green transition and the skills need in the European boat building sector, which Lucia will present, and afterwards we will have from her also a bit more information about the online course and the training resources. We have two fascinating case studies about using sustainable materials and innovation in our industry from innovation yachts and green boats, France and Germany respectively. We will then have a presentation from my colleague Marina here at EBI about the TEcoNaut entrepreneurship guide, and then back to Lucia from CTEach about the next steps in the project, so how the industry and other stakeholders can benefit in the coming months from what we have developed. And then we will go into the Q&A session. This project is really strategically important for EBI, for our industry, because it tackles one of the key aspects that we want to tackle in terms of the green transition, sustainability, which is materials. How can we improve the type of materials we use? How can we improve recycling, increasingly use bio-based or other non-traditional materials, and make this part of the bigger life cycle improvement? Our ambition is to improve the product that we are producing as an industry, the boats, from start to finish, from the raw materials that we use, from the manufacturing facilities that we have, manufacturing processes, the use phase, the end of life, and this is a key aspect of all of it. So we're very excited to be part of this and very excited to present to you this project today. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Luther Nendrek from CTEach, yeah, he will talk to us about the green transition and skills needed in boat building. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Philip. And thank you very much for the organization, and thank you for the participants and the speakers to be here in this afternoon. Yes, my name is Luca Jendrek. I'm a project coordinator at CTEach. And regarding the TEcoNaut project, CTEach is the coordinator organization. At first, in my presentation, I would like to give you just a very brief overview why this project was very needed and why we launched this project. So what were the challenges, or what are the challenges still when it comes to boat building and materials? So as you probably know, there are millions of boats in the European waters, namely over 6.5 million boats navigating here in Europe. And they are using over 72,000 tons of composite materials, which are usually not recyclable, or they have very limited recycling capacity with very high costs. These materials, for example, the fiberglass, reinforced plastic, resins, foams, or other composite materials. And when it comes to the skills and knowledge and training, in Europe, especially, there is still a big gap between a skilled and knowledgeable workforce when it comes to a more sustainable boat building. However, there is a big need from the company side, but also from consumer side, to be able to have boats built with more sustainable materials and processes. So basically, these were the main challenges and issues and problems that the project wanted to build on, tackling the sustainability from an educational perspective. And let's go to the next slide, because I wanted to mention that the project started with 3 key researches. The first one was researching and analyzing skills and identify those skills and knowledge areas, what are missing and what the sector and the companies are missing. And this research was done with a big assessment by analyzing different training curriculums. If I'm not mistaken, the partners analyzed over 100 curriculums in Europe and also in the United Kingdom. But then they also dived deeper in European projects and initiatives who are mentioning these topics and what skill gaps they found, because we know that we are not the first ones dealing with this topic. So we wanted to build on some previous European initiatives. And last but not least, a new deep tech skill report have been made by the TEcoNaut project, which consisted over 120 interviews done by the stakeholders in the boat building sector. They were asked a bunch of questions about what skills are missing, how the sector is doing at the moment, what are the needs from a consumer side, and so on and so on. So many questions have been raised for them. And I really would like to invite you, maybe not now, but after this webinar, to please go to the website of the project and check out all these 3 reports. They are really insightful. They will give you much more information on the background of these skill gaps. You can also scan this QR code. But in the previous slides, I would like to showcase you the main results. Of course, I cannot show you all the results, but I highlighted some very interesting ones. So let's go to the next one, which is about the key findings from these 3 research materials. So the first and maybe one of the most important point to highlight is that only around 20–25% of the curricula that we analyzed mentions or dealing with some sustainable or green content. It means that out of these 141 curricula that have been assessed, only 16 countries mention to some certain extent the sustainable or green content. You can see the list here, which were these countries who mention these kind of contents. So, for example, Netherlands, France, Spain, Poland, Italy, up to Greece and Cyprus and Germany. But still, they mention this content, but they don't really go into too much details, and they are also lacking the knowledge and skills about advanced technologies and digital skills. However, when we asked the manufacturers and the companies, the big majority, so over 70% of them agreed that the green transition is needed or extremely important. And again, another big majority agreed that sustainability in the sector closely related to the materials. And on this graph below, you can see that the top 3 skills which are missing from the sector to be able to more sustainable is actually, I would say, 2 soft skills. So the first one is promoting sustainability. The second one is ensuring compliance with environmental legislation. And the third one was waste management. But of course, you can see other skills from this list that were ranked quite highly important. For example, how climate change is impacting the fabrication, or how to reduce pollution, and so on and so on. So you can see the full list and all the questions analyzed basically in this report. The next slide, what I would like to show you is also a very interesting one. So the people from the sector were also asked what do they think, how important in the boat building curricula to have green skills and to have knowledge about new sustainable materials. And this graph really talks itself, because as you can see, the big majority think that it is important, very important, and extremely important. Other than this importance, the people who were asked, they also highlighted other skills which were not presented before, which would be really important and necessary in the sector, but still there is a big gap, because they are missing basically from the sustainable boat building sector. These ones you can see in this list. So namely, this is the advanced application of bio-based resins, LC implementation, recycling strategies, fundraising, customer education and communication, the knowledge of ESCO, which is the European framework for the skills and knowledge areas, also the knowledge of ISO and monitoring and auditing. And I think it is also very important to highlight that these skills are not always, these hands-on practical skills, but for example, when it comes to education and communication, we really have to highlight the importance of soft skills. The next slide is about the TEcoNaut course, because the course was building on these research findings. And in order to fill this gap that we encountered and that we found that there is a big need for these skills and knowledge areas, so in order to have a more sustainable sector, of course, everything starts with education and training, the TEcoNaut course have developed a very massive online course, which is a very comprehensive course consisting 5 units. The course itself is 140 hours long, and now it is available in 6 languages. So in the languages of the partners, namely it is English, German, French, Spanish, Polish, Greek, and Turkish. And if I counted, it's 7, not 6, sorry. The main aim or the main target group for this course are the vet students, more specifically at level 4. And this course is not only just an online theory course where you can learn about many different topics, but it also has many hands-on activities and assessments. So that's why it is very important and highly encouraged to do this course with trainers and in a workshop. So that's why students can really test and practice these sustainable materials and also these processes that they are learning with the course. And if you go to the next slide, I highlighted the main topics that we covered. So as I mentioned, we have 5 main units. The first one is an introduction to sustainability in the boat building sector. The second one is about sustainable materials, properties, and performances. The third one is dealing with application techniques in manufacturing and repair work. And I have to mention that the second and the third unit are the really practical and hands-on units. And then the course goes into the life cycle assessment and business case, and it finishes with some career planning opportunities, but also showcasing the challenges that young people can encounter when they would like to find a career in the boat building sector. This course is now available. As I mentioned, it's free of charge, so you don't need to pay for this course. You don't have to register. You can just head to the website of the project, which is TEcoNaut.eu. You can also scan this QR code, and you can enjoy and test this course in 7 languages. The next slide, what I would like to share is about the hands-on activities and the importance of having some practicalities in this course. So this course has been piloted in 2 countries. Firstly, it was piloted in Spain, namely in Menorca, in Centre de la Mar, and it also traveled to Turkey, to the Golkuk Vet Center. And it was a very important process, not just for the project perspective, because at first we really wanted to see, from students and trainers how they are liking this course. Maybe something is missing, or maybe some modifications are needed. But also it was very nice to bring this course to the students and see what they think of this course. So I mentioned previously that it's mostly the unit 2 and 3, which are dealing with the practical work. And on these pictures, you can see some different processes that the students are testing. And on the next slide, I would like to mention also the exchange workshops that the project organized between some partners. So the main idea for this workshop was to bring the trainers and some students to the 3 companies who are participating in this project, Astondoa, Innovation Yacht, and Green Boats, to be more specific. And it was a great occasion to network, exchange practices, see the real life examples, how these materials are being treated, how they are using these materials. And the participants, so the students and the trainers, could also see how they manage their workshops, and they could also learn about each other practices and how they're looking for maybe international collaborations. The next slide, if I'm not mistaken, will be about the teacher's handbook. Yes. So we have the course, but in order to deliver this course in a proper and an effective manner, we developed a handbook or a guidebook for the teachers or the trainers who will conduct this course with the students. This teacher's handbook will be very, very soon ready in, again, all the 6 languages of the consortium. It is aligned with the course, so you can follow this teacher's handbook unit per unit, and it gives you a better explanation about the topic. It also gives you some level up knowledge, because it can easily happen that the students ask the teachers about something which is not mentioned in the course, but we really try to provide much more extra information to the trainers to address these questions and concerns. And at the end, you can also find many supporting materials for the trainers, what we really believe is a very important guidebook for them in order to deliver and implement this training course in a very nice manner. And you can see that the topics which are covered, for example, as I mentioned, the course outline, supporting information, it gives you also knowledge and information about training methods and training practices. And another important part of this teacher's handbook is a very extensive, very long list of materials and equipment that you need to have in order to do the course, and what are the materials which are just recommended ones. And I mentioned that it also contains many level up information, let it be presentations, videos, extra links to other documents. So we really try to bring everything together in this teacher's handbook. It became quite a massive document, over 150 pages, but we know that there are so many knowledge out there, and we try to summarize everything in this teacher's handbook. Let's go to the next slide, which is about the piloting and evaluation, but I already mentioned that the course was tested and piloted in these two vet centers, firstly in Spain and then in Turkey, and it was really a great occasion to see the course, how it's doing, and also they provided us many important feedback that we will try to implement in the next phase of the course. And the course was also evaluated not only by the students and the trainers, but also by the external advisory board and an external evaluator who are really big experts from the field. They also went through the course, the teacher's handbook, and took a critical view and provided us very valuable feedbacks. And I think regarding the course, that would be it. Thank you very much. And then I would like to give the floor to Annie, or maybe to Philippe at first.
Yeah, just very quickly, I do want to use this opportunity to say thank you to you, Lucia, for this presentation and for guiding us through where the project started, what the origin is, why we needed to do it, and now also where we are already with the teacher's handbook, with the course. So that's really fantastic. If anyone has any questions to Lucia, we can take them at the end. There was one issue apparently with the QR code, but it didn't work. But I put the link in the chat for everyone, so you can access that as well. Yes, you already introduced it, and now we go over to have two case studies, and we'll start with Annie Sampson from Innovation Yacht. So over to you, Annie.
Thank you. Good afternoon to all of you. So I'm Annie. I work at Innovation Yacht. It's a shipyard based in France, near to Les Sables d'Olonne. It's the city of the Vendée Globe, and that's the Vendée Globe that brought our founders here. Indeed, Norbert Sedlacek finished this famous race in 2009, and with Marion Corr, these two Austrians founded the shipyard in this region of France that welcomed them and their innovative ideas for boat building. So on the next slide, please. So their main goal was to find a recyclable and high-end quality building material for boats that can answer to mechanical issues while lowering the environmental impact of boat building. That's why they orientated their work upon pure basalt or mixed volcanic stone fiber. Indeed, this kind of fibers offers good responses toward mechanical constraints that exist on a boat, especially regarding damping or tensile strengths, for example. Moreover, these fibers are hydrophobic, so that avoids some osmosis issues, and as the volcanic stones constitute the external layer of the earth, the resources are rather available. So they started from the beginning at laboratory level and making trials and experiments to find the best combination and processes in order to develop a recyclable and reliable laminate solution for boat building with as less as possible threat on workers' health. So on next slide, I continue with a bit of history of the company. So from 2012 to 2014, they built their first prototype. It was a 16-footer, the Fipofix. It was their proof of principle. With it, Harold, Norbert's son, established 3 records and crossed twice North Atlantic, non-stop and single-handed. Then in 2016, they founded Innovation Youth and started new conception and construction, still using the same materials. From 2016 to 2018, they built the Open60 AAL for the Antarctic Lab project, and I will talk about it a bit later. On the next slide, please. In 21, they launched the LBV35. It is a fully recyclable 35 feet catamaran designed by Innovation Youth. It won the Ocean Tribute Award in 23 with an ocean cleaning system. Then from 23 to 24, they designed and built a first serial fully recyclable 16 feet catamaran. And then on the next slide, please. During all these steps and construction, Innovation Youth kept on going with development to optimize the materials, thanks to a strong partnership with suppliers. For the fiber, the latest development relies on Tenron, a pure mineral fiber produced by Azomatex. Concerning the matrix, BTO epoxy managed to produce an efficient solvent-free bio-based epoxy with no carcinogen substance in it and reached 43% of biocomponents even when mixed with the Ardena. The core material are supplied by 3A Composites. It's mostly balsa wood from FSC plantation. All construction of Innovation Youth use these materials. If the Fibrofix already proved the efficiency, the shipyard needs to spread the word. That's why on the next slide, I will talk about a little about the Antarctic Lab project. So in this project, the Open60 AAL, mentioned before, becomes a floating laboratory with innovative electric engines, hydrogenerators, solar panel, and air quality measurement tests. The project is a world first record attempt by all oceans, non-stop, single-handed, without assistance. You can see the route on the map. It's almost like a Vendée Globe, but with the first part around Svalbard. And as mentioned, so on the next slide, please. As mentioned, the main goal is to reach a wider audience, to increase awareness about sustainability, and to make it sound fun and inspiring and not only compelling and demanding. So the next departure date for the project is fixed on the 26th of July, and Norbert will leave Porto Lana in Les Sables d'Olonne at 3:30 p.m. And as the next slide will say it, Norbert likes to say development never stops, so we keep on going. Thank you for your attention, and I let you with Loris.
Just very quickly, thank you, Annie, for that presentation. Before we give the floor to Loris, good luck, of course, to Norbert on this fantastic mission. And yeah, very interesting to hear. And now we move from France to Germany, to precise Bremen, Northern Germany, to hear from Loris. Over to you.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Yeah, I'm Loris. I'm a boat builder at Green Boats. We are a boat building company since 2009, specialized into natural fiber composites. Our main focus is, of course, to build aesthetically pleasing, lightweight composite solutions out of the most respectful materials available. So we try to find alternatives. As you can maybe see on the next slide, our idea mainly was to, our first driver was our own health. So as a boat builder, you are a lot in contact with, for example, glass and carbon fiber, a lot of synthetic fibers, which leaves you going home with itchy arms, and even worse, you can even get diseases from. So this was our main driver. What stood out was that every thing that's good for the boat builder is also good for the environment. So this was like a good match. From there on, we looked at solutions that are close to us. So we're in Bremen, northern Germany, quite central in Europe. Therefore, we, as we can maybe see on the next slide as well, looked around in like neighboring regions and countries. And a fiber that has been used for centuries. I mean, even the Egyptians used linen fibers, but also in Central Europe it was used a lot. Linen fibers for sails, for ropes, and nowadays a lot for I would say home garment, so like tablecloth and bed linen. So we turn ourselves to there. The first constructions we did, the canoes and small sail skiffs, they were a bit it was a bit very scientific. Now we are working very closely with a partner in northern France. So actually, also less than 800 kilometers away from where we build the boats, the plants are growing that we use. We are stitching and laying our own composite fibers. So we have our own biaxial, our own multi-axial fibers we use. We work also with a French epoxy resin provider that also has variable biocomponents. We vary between 30 and 80% depending on the use case, because we struggle a lot with UV, for example. This is a problem. So because we work with a natural product, nature is also working a bit against us. We thought that being on the water and being in a competitive water, a bit like Innovation Yachts with the IMOCA, this brings, it's a great laboratory for materials. So as you can maybe see on the next slide, thank you, Marina, you were already there. As you can see on this slide, we worked a lot with IMOCA teams to try and bring our flex fibers inside boats. Because we build our own sailboats, but they are more coastal, and we wanted to have something that goes around the world a few times. So we did this with 11-hour racing, with Team Malizia. We are working also with an Olympic class, the ILCA class. It's maybe some of you know it. It's in terms of number of boats, it's the biggest class in the world. It's an Olympic class as well. And they are also, I mean, world sailing in general is looking forward on how do we get the next generation psyched about sailing. And I mean, it's a sport where you're always outside, so you're from nature on more close to nature. And we kind of help them to get the transition from classical or I say conventional boat building practices to maybe more sustainable boat building processes. The last step we are focusing on a lot, you will see on the last slide maybe, is even going further than just the lifetime as a boat, is how can we get these technologies that are approved in the toughest conditions in Southern Ocean, in different world sailing. And these solutions we find there, they are applicable for a lot of different industries as well. We work together with the windcraft and the wind energy industry to build, how you can see on this photo, the main cabin of a windmill. This is also made out of the same natural fiber panels made by the same boat builders. We want to also give them more lifetimes. Therefore, after the windmill, the next lifetime you can build an RV out of it, out of the same panels. So try to reuse and bring in kind of a modular thinking and a circular, we call it circular structures because it's different. It's a structure where you can use it in a circular way. And I think that this is also an important key factor about our project here at TEcoNaut, is that what our boat builders or students in shipbuilding industries or chemical industries are learning is also very much applicable to different industries, and that we kind of in the boat building can have the role as a pioneer, what Innovation did, what Greenboats did, what a lot of other companies in Europe also did and outside of Europe. And this is something we find very interesting, or I find also very interesting about the project. That's it from my side. Feel free to reach out to me at any time.
Thank you very much. Another very interesting presentation, a different target material and different approach, but going in the same direction. So thank you, Loris. I now hand over the floor to my colleague Marina Palumbo-Cadella, who is really the driving force in EBI for this project. So over to you, Marina, to present the TEcoNaut Entrepreneurship Guide.
Thank you, Philip, also for the compliment. So for the people that maybe are not really used to working with European projects, there is like, I think, another language that you should learn when talking about them. But just to make it easy for everyone, this guide was part of the last work package of our project, which is the end of the project that will end in February. The point here, and EBI is the leading partner for this part of the project, is to make the project sustainable and alive, let's say, afterwards. So when the fundings are gone. And we've thought about this guide as something that everyone could actually use. Also, of course, maintaining a bit maintaining the goal of the project, which is on skills and materials. But we really wanted to make something that was able to connect with different target groups. So from students, from entrepreneurs, experts, and all industry, let's say. The key message for us here is that, of course, our industry, as everyone knows, I think it's going towards a really big transformation in different sectors and aspects. And we want to see the future as a combination of factors. In the case of TEcoNaut, these factors are new materials, new skills, and new business models. The drivers that pushed us also to talk about TEcoNaut and to work on it are, as you can see, sustainability and circularity requirements, new materials, evolving EU regulations that are actually pushing us to put in place new ways of building boats. And at the same time, this sounds weird for on the industry side, actually the really high demand on new skills and competencies. Just to make an example, like I think in EBI we receive very often questions on how we can work more with skills and how to find new suitable workers in the boat building, but also in the retrofitting and so on. So really, the challenge is no longer only technological, as we say, but it's really turning this technology into practical usage, so into skills and business opportunities and advantages. It is important to understand this transition, as mentioned before, because especially for our industry, I think the motto is no one size fits all. So this goes also for, this works perfectly also with materials. As already mentioned by our experts, I'm not one of them, but as the list of all the materials that you can see here, at the same time, it's important to understand that there is not the perfect one. And for this reason, every time that we looked at one of them, we need to select it and throughout a balancing process. So we need to consider the performance, the cost, the manufacturability, the environmental impact, and always the regulatory requirements. But I think the future perspective we need to look at this is really to see new materials and in general sustainability as an opportunity, as a positive challenge for our sector. So as you can see here, you see two different lists, like the priority skills that, as Luca mentioned before, were researched in the first phases of the project. So this was a bit what it was missing, like the approach of life cycle assessment, eco-design, and circular economy, something that exists, but we want to really bring forward. And also mentioned before the percentages, there is a big gap between the number of the current curricula and the real need of the companies and what they can actually provide. So this is something we really want to work on. And yeah, finally, what closed the circle is to bring all the skills into the sector and to really make sustainability not just as a challenge, but really an opportunity, a long-term opportunity. And as you can see here, we think that like there is a list of products, jobs, kind of workforce, all emerging opportunities that this project and I mean our sector together with this project can really bring forward. And to mention only few, on the right side you can see the TEcoNaut resources. I think it's very important to highlight what are the touchable things that you can use from TEcoNaut, because sometimes we focus on the theory, but on the practical side, I think we already have a course that can be used in 7 languages for free. We have this guide, we have tutorials, and then we have the examples of real industry leaders in the green transition. So we can really make this even bigger if other industry leaders decides to really work together with TEcoNaut materials as well. And I think this was my last slide. And I leave the floor to Luza or to Philip.
Thank you very much, Marina. Yes, very good to hear about this entrepreneurship guide, and that will soon also be available. To close off the presentation, or this was part of the presentation before we go into Q&A, so please put your questions in the Q&A and chat. Back to Luza to give us an idea what happens in the next couple of months while this project continues.
Thank you. And thank you, Marina, also pinpointing this important topic that we are not only talking about sustainability in materials, but also sustainability of the project and all the resources that the partnership has produced. That's a very important point. Yes, what's going to happen still in the upcoming 6-7 months? So TEcoNaut is quite an ambitious and long project. We started 2.5 years ago. So in total, this project will last 3 years of work between these amazing partners. But still many exciting, interesting things are coming up. So, for example, at the moment, the partnership is very busy to create a traineeship program for university students. At the beginning, I was talking about the VET students mostly because they are the main target group, what the course is really aiming to engage. But now it's the time to engage and include the university students. So that's what the partnership is working at the moment. Then it will be followed with some pitch competitions, and Marina also mentioned that the entrepreneurship guide is in progress, but it will take the final shape quite very soon. It will be a very important and handy and easily understandable guidebook for mostly students or early career professionals who would like to find a place or maybe start a business in the boat building sector, and mostly in the sustainable boat building sector. Then we are also started to work on creating a directory of companies who are working with eco-boat building materials, or maybe they are in the transition of being more sustainable. So we really would like to map and discover these companies, more specifically in Europe on the first place, and create a publicly available directory of these companies that everybody can see and access. And the main aim with this directory will be to give an overview of the students when they would like to find a future career or future positions in this area. Then the project will also travel to many different locations in the upcoming months. You can see that the TEcoNaut will be represented at the Pole Boat Yachting Festival, Barcelona Boat Show, Valencia Boat Show, and at the Met. And the final closing event for the TEcoNaut project will be Boot Düsseldorf in January, at the end of January 2027. So maybe you already know that you're going to be there, or maybe you're planning to go there. We really would like to see you and talk with you. That's going to be the end and the closing event of the project, but also the plan is to make the pitch competition at the Boot Düsseldorf. So we're going to prepare some very exciting events and activities at the booth next year. And as a kind reminder, if you are new to the TEcoNaut project, I really would like to invite you to check out our website, also follow us on social media, on Instagram and LinkedIn. I don't know if the QR codes are working. If not, I'm very sorry, but it's very easy to find us if you just type the name of the project on these platforms. And yeah, I think that would be it from my side. Maybe one and maybe the most important thing to highlight that this project and all these achievements that we could make happen in the past years is it wasn't a one-man's job. That's a really hard, big effort of a big partnership of 7 partners coming from different countries. So I don't know if they are here or if not. I really would like to highlight their great contribution and work in this project. Thank you very much. And I guess it's the time for questions, if there are any.
Thank you very much, Luca, for that closing presentation. Really useful. Now we go into the Q&A, and I'm happy to report that we have quite a few questions already. A very practical question to you, Loris. Is it true that Greenbow has chosen to build the ILCA in green composites for the next Olympics?
Yes, thank you. So thank you, Johannes, also for your question. It's a bit more complicated than that because we are the official sustainability partner of ILCA, if you will. So we are trying right now to find the right parts. We are already testing some parts. We are trying to find the right parts to construct in, sorry. Give 1 second, sorry. I don't know why this doesn't stop. No. Yeah, we are allowed to make some parts. We cannot from one day to the other change the whole fleet because it's an enormous fleet, and therefore it would be a huge environmental impact if we would make a huge part of the fleet obsolete. So it's a process. It won't be for Los Angeles. We have a lot of targets for Brisbane, so the next Olympics. We will see what we will be able to do there, but we are already starting doing parts. That's true.
Very exciting. Thank you, Loris. Then from Johannes Christopher's also a question to you, Luca. Maybe you have already seen it. I will read it out so everyone's aware. We have in Germany a dual system for an apprenticeship as boat builders. Universities are mostly teaching engineering schools. Will it be possible to apply the course at boat building schools? I think that's a yes, right?
Yeah. So the course, as I mentioned, is now available in the partner languages. It is available to be used by really anybody who is interested. You can be a very enthusiastic individual who would like to do the course, or you can propose it to your school, to your university web center, that there is this course, and maybe try to find a more organized way so you can work with some workshops, shipyards where you can, test out some processes. So I really encourage you to take this advantage. Take this opportunity and make it happen. And I see that there is another question from the same person, so maybe I can answer that. Definitely, once we have the information about the pitch competition, we can let you know. It will be publicly available on the website and on the social media, and we are very happy to hear that you can distribute among your network. So that's great to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Luca. One question to maybe first Anja, then also Loris, if you want to come in on this. In your companies, for example, now at Innovation Yacht, do you have this challenge of getting workers that have some experience with the materials that you're working with, or do you find enough people?
I don't know if you want to answer, Louis, but on our side, mostly they don't know our materials because it's really specific ones. So usually we organize a training when they come to work. We organize a training to really learn how to handle it and to give them some clues of, because there is challenges that are not common with conventional materials. So yes, we try to guide them to troubleshooting each steps.
Thank you. Very interesting. Laurie?
I think that's a good point. Also, I mean, it's quite hard to find in general well-trained composite workers. So it's not very deeply forced. I mean, we have this dual traineeship in Germany, as Johannes said, and where I come from, and where everybody in my company did it, but it's still also focused a lot on woodwork and on steel, maybe, or aluminium, and less on composite work. So it's quite complicated to find someone. But what we see is that we have a lot of interested, especially young people who want to learn and who would prefer to learn it at a place like Innovation Yards or Greenbolts, because they know of the less risk for their health and that they're working with a material that is fit for the next generation.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? I don't see anything coming up in the chat. Will there be a T2 from Johannes Christophers? TEcoNaut 2. Good question. Maybe Luca wants to answer this one.
I really like T2 already as a title. We really would like to have, yes, because we noticed that there are still so much to do and it might not fit the project timeline. And there are other topics of sustainability that we could address. I don't really want to go into more details because some part of are still confidential, but I would say we are really working on to have a T2, a TEcoNaut 2.
Okay, I like that as well. Great. I think Annie, sorry, you wanted to raise your hand?
No, sorry, it's wrong wrong manipulation. Sorry.
No problem. No, that's awesome. I think that's a good way to end on this. So thank you also for that information. And as soon as we go down the route of a T2 TEcoNaut 2, then of course we'll invite other people to come on board and be involved. So I think I would like to conclude here and thank you, Lucia, Marina, Annie, and Lois for this very interesting webinar. And we will share the slides and more information by email so everyone can stay involved and stay informed. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.